Once we got into the coffee business is when I actually kind of got the bug. I tend to be like an all or nothing person, so once I committed to coffee, it sort of took over my life and I was kind of all in from there. My name is John Allen and I am the founder of Onyx Coffee Lab. So Onyx has a lot of different faces. We have the cafes, like what's above us, and those are part of our business and also have become the face of our business and sort of the heart of our business is in our staff and our culture and sort of development of all of who we are. But the bulk of our business of actual roasting is supplying Onyx coffee for hundreds of cafes across the United States and internationally. Coffee is a fruit. We're sourcing in Central, South America, and East Africa. Our goal is to find essentially the best coffees in the world that we can find, taste and cup and quality control them there, build relationships with those farmers, pay those producers, contract, and then try to get it back to the United States in the best care possible. So in a nutshell, that is a simplified version, of kind of what we do. Onyx is always geared towards the coffee industry. We're always looking that the coffee experts respect us and that we are really moving or changing or being progressive towards what's happening in the industry as a whole. So I would say about 90% of what we roast leaves the state of Arkansas and is going to the West Coast, East Coast, or again internationally out. And those coffees all remain Onyx coffee being served by someone else. I have an affinity for wash process Ethiopian coffees. Ethiopia produces probably my favorite coffee. Every coffee, like we talked about before, is a fruit, and to extract those seeds, which we call coffee beans, but the two seeds within a cherry, takes some sort of process to get them out. Washed is a type of process that produces a cup that's usually a little more crisp and complex, a little more floral in nature, thinner in body, and that's just something I'm kind of drawn to. With that Ethiopia, for us, we're going to be doing about 25 grams of coffee to 400 grams of water, and that water will be at about 205 degrees. We'll want to degas the coffee right after it's ground, so we'll ground the coffee, put it into the filter, and then immediately we're going to want to pour double the grams of coffee of water into the filter. So if it's 25 grams of coffee, we're pouring 50 grams of water initially. That essentially saturates all the grounds and gets rid of all the carbon dioxide. So you're essentially degassing the coffee. Coffee is kind of this living, breathing thing, so as you roast, you're creating these little pockets of carbon dioxide that prevent you from extracting. So when you grind with a really nice grinder, you're getting a very even particle size so that you can essentially pull all that gas out. We would degas the coffee, that's 50 grams, and we would wait about 30 seconds. So you would start to see the coffee rise, it would start to bubble, essentially fully degassing, allowing us to pull out all the really good organic acids, the caramelized sugars that we've already prepared within the coffee. And from there we would pulse about 4 different pours to get up to 400 grams. Those pours are going to agitate the coffee, which increases our extraction. And for us, we're using pretty thin paper filters, which means it's going to retain some of the oil, but not all the oil content. That way in the final cup, you'll get a little bit of body from that oil, but not enough oil that it covers your sensory receptors in your mouth or your papilla. That way you can still taste everything that's in the coffee. So the goal in brewing is sort of finding this balance between how much body and how much acidity or flavor clarity do I want? And that's always a seesaw ratio you have to play with. I can take the same coffee and increase the body through my brewing but lower the flavor clarity, or change the recipe, increase the flavor clarity but really decrease the body, right? End up with a tea-like body but a high acidity if I really want those floral and fruit notes. That's a very short snapshot of some brew science. You're only ever going to be as good as your raw product, right? Like a chef is only as good as the ingredients he's bringing in. So for us, sourcing is the differentiator of Onyx. What we find, that coffee is at its highest state at that point, right? A coffee unroasted has the most organic acids and sugars and all the special things that have been grown through terroir are all going to be at its peak there. And the goal actually for us roasting is like how little of our touch can we impart and still make that bean extractable. How do we roast it so that we don't leave any impression upon it? And that target changes based on origin, density, roast level, and all these other parameters we take into consideration.